Hi everyone. Have you ever wondered why some women walk into a room and instantly draw attention without even trying? It's not just about beauty, clothes, or status, it's something deeper. True irresistibility doesn't scream, it whispers. It's not a mask you put on, it's a light that comes from within. Being irresistible is about living with authenticity, confidence, and grace that makes people want to be around you. And the best part, it's not reserved for a few. Any woman can cultivate these habits, and today we'll uncover the 12 powerful habits that make a woman truly unforgettable. Confidence is magnetic. It's the silent force that makes a woman unforgettable the moment she enters a room. But here's the truth. Confidence isn't about being the loudest voice, the boldest presence, or the one with the most extravagant display. Real confidence is quiet, it's steady. It's the way you carry yourself, even when no one is watching. It's the calm assurance in your walk, the steadiness in your voice, and the way you look someone in the eye without fear or apology. Think about the women you've admired most in your life. Chances are it wasn't just their appearance that drew you, it was the way they seemed so sure of who they were. They didn't shrink themselves to make others comfortable, and they didn't inflate themselves to be noticed. They simply existed in their truth, and that truth spoke louder than words. Confidence says, I know my worth, even before you open your mouth, and that is what makes it irresistible. Now let's clear something up. Confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is rooted in insecurity. It shouts to cover up fear. Confidence, on the other hand, doesn't need to shout. It whispers and people lean in to listen. An irresistible woman doesn't need to prove herself because she already knows who she is. She doesn't need the applause of others to validate her steps. She moves forward with or without it, and when you develop that kind of quiet assurance, people will naturally be drawn to you because they can feel the strength behind it. But here's the beauty of it. Confidence is not something you're either born with or without. It's a habit you can cultivate. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build it. Every time you set a boundary and stand by it, you strengthen it. Every time you try something new despite fear, you expand it. Confidence grows through action, not just thought. It's built when you refuse to back down from your truth, even if your voice shakes the first time you speak it. Picture this. A woman walks into a room full of strangers. She's not the tallest, not the most glamorous, not even the one in the most eye-catching outfit, but there's something about her. She stands tall, shoulders back with a posture that says she knows she belongs. She smiles, not a forced smile to gain approval, but a genuine one that radiates ease. She listens when others speak. She speaks with clarity when she has something to say, and she doesn't rush to fill silence. People are drawn to her, not because of how she looks, but because of how she makes them feel in her presence. That's the power of confidence. It creates a gravitational pull, and let's talk about what happens when you embody it. Confidence changes how others treat you. When you believe in your worth, others learn to respect it. When you stop apologizing for existing, people stop expecting you to shrink. When you walk with certainty, doors open, not because of luck, but because people trust those who trust themselves. Opportunities follow confidence, relationships strengthen through it, success is built on it. Yet the most powerful impact of confidence isn't on how others see you, it's on how you see yourself. When you start trusting your voice, you stop drowning in self-doubt. When you recognize your value, you stop settling for less than you deserve. Confidence gives you the courage to say no when something doesn't serve you, and the boldness to say yes when opportunity arrives. It transforms not only your presence, but your entire life. So if you've ever looked at a woman and thought she just has something about her, understand this, that something is not a secret gift. It's the product of choices. Choices to stand tall when life pushes you down. Choices to value your voice, even when it shakes. Choices to walk in rooms, not asking permission to belong, but knowing that you already do. Confidence without arrogance is the first and most powerful habit that makes a woman irresistible. Because beauty fades, trends change, and appearances evolve, but confidence, it grows richer with time. And when you nurture it daily, when you remind yourself that your worth is not up for debate, you carry an energy that no one can ignore. That is the kind of confidence that doesn't just attract attention, it inspires it, and that is the kind of confidence that makes you truly unforgettable. Kindness is one of the most underestimated forces in the world. We live in a society that often glorifies beauty, wealth, and achievement, but the truth is what people remember most about you is how you made them feel. A woman who carries kindness in her words, her actions, and her energy becomes unforgettable in a way no amount of physical attractiveness ever could. Kindness is not weakness, it is strength. It takes courage to meet the world with compassion when life itself can be harsh.
And that courage is what makes kindness so irresistibly magnetic.
When you meet a woman who is kind, you feel it immediately. She looks you in the eye when you speak. She listens without judgment, and she makes you feel like your words matter. She doesn't need to dominate a conversation or prove she is the smartest in the room. Instead, she creates a safe space where others feel seen and valued. That quality is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. We are all searching for connection, for someone who makes us feel significant. And when a woman gives that to others, through kindness, people naturally gravitate toward her. The beauty of kindness is that it has nothing to do with circumstances. You don't need to have the perfect life, the perfect career, or endless resources to be kind. All it takes is a choice to respond with patience instead of anger, with understanding instead of judgment, with love instead of indifference. An irresistible woman understands that kindness is her greatest tool for building genuine relationships. She knows that it disarms negativity, softens tension, and leaves an imprint on people long after the interaction is over. But let's be clear, kindness is not about being a pushover. Too often people mistake kindness for passivity. Real kindness has boundaries. It doesn't mean you let others walk all over you. It means you stand strong in your values, while treating others with dignity and respect. An irresistible woman can say no, firmly, and still say it kindly. She can disagree without tearing someone down. She can correct someone with compassion instead of cruelty. And that balance of strength and softness is what makes her presence unforgettable.
Think about the people who've had the greatest influence on your life. They may not have been the richest, the most famous, or the most outwardly successful, but I guarantee they had a way of making you feel valued. That teacher who encouraged you when you doubted yourself. That friend who sat with you in silence when words couldn't fix your pain. That stranger who smiled at you on a hard day, reminding you that you weren't invisible. Those small acts of kindness linger because they touch something deeper than appearances. They touch the human soul. The truth is, kindness creates a ripple of one gentle word, one patient gesture, one act of generosity. It travels further than you can ever imagine. And for a woman who embodies kindness, her influence expands far beyond her immediate circle. She inspires others to mirror her compassion, to soften their approach, to be more giving. She becomes a catalyst for positive energy wherever she goes. That kind of impact is irresistible because it makes the world feel lighter, safer, and more hopeful. Kindness also builds trust. People may admire beauty, but they confide in kindness. They may be entertained by wit, but they are healed by compassion. When a woman consistently shows kindness, she becomes the person others can count on. She becomes the one people seek for comfort, for advice, for strength. And in a world where trust is fragile, being someone who inspires it is one of the most powerful qualities you can possess. And here is the secret. Kindness doesn't just transform how people see you, it transforms how you see yourself. When you act with compassion, when you lift others up, when you treat people with dignity, you strengthen your own sense of worth. You begin to see the good in yourself, reflected in the gratitude of others. That in turn builds confidence, peace, and resilience. Kindness is not just a gift you give to others, it is also a gift you give to yourself. So when a woman chooses kindness, she is not only making herself unforgettable in the eyes of others, she is shaping her own soul into something radiant. Beauty may catch the eye, but kindness captures the heart. And long after the moment has passed, long after the memory of appearances fades, it is kindness that remains. That is why it is one of the most powerful habits that makes a woman truly irresistible.
Passion is like fire. It cannot be hidden. When a woman has passion for life, it radiates from her in ways no material possession ever could. You can feel it in the way she talks about her dreams, in the light in her eyes when she's doing what she loves, and in the energy she brings into every room she enters. Passion makes her magnetic because people are naturally drawn to someone who is alive in their spirit. It's contagious. It sparks curiosity. It inspires others to reach for more in their own lives. An irresistible woman doesn't drift through life passively, waiting for things to happen. She knows that passion is not about perfection or even success. It's about engagement. It's about saying yes to life, yes to growth, yes to experiences that awaken her. She may not always have everything figured out, but she refuses to let fear or doubt keep her from moving forward. People can sense that kind of vibrancy and it pulls them in. You see, passion isn't just attractive, it's life-giving. It makes you unforgettable because it shows that you are not just existing, but truly living. What makes passion so powerful is that it isn't limited to one area of life. It can be expressed in the way you pursue your career, in the hobbies that make your soul light up, in the way you nurture your relationships, or even in how you care for your body and mind. Passion is a force that seeps into everything you do, and when you live with it, you remind others that life is meant to be experienced fully, not half-heartedly. People want to be near that energy because it awakens something within them too. Think about someone you've met who loved what they did so deeply that you couldn't help but feel inspired just by listening to them. They didn't have to convince you of anything. Their enthusiasm spoke louder than any words. That's what passion does. It communicates without effort. It creates a spark that doesn't just draw people closer, but also encourages them to reignite their own fire. When a woman lives this way, she doesn't need to chase admiration. It comes to her naturally because her energy becomes magnetic. But passion is not about being busy for the sake of busyness. It's not about filling every moment with activities. True passion comes from alignment. It's about living in a way that honors your values, your dreams, and your inner voice. An irresistible woman listens to that voice, even when the world tells her to silence it. She chases what excites her, even if others don't understand. She creates a life that reflects who she is, not just what is expected of her. And that courage, that authenticity is deeply attractive. Passion also gives resilience. When challenges come, and they always do, a passionate woman doesn't crumble easily. Her drive, her purpose, and her love for life give her strength to keep going when the path gets hard. People are drawn to that resilience because it's rare to see someone face difficulties and still burn with enthusiasm for life. It doesn't mean she never struggles. It means she refuses to let the struggles extinguish her fire. That is inspiring. That is unforgettable. And perhaps the most beautiful part of passion is how it fuels joy. A woman who lives with passion laughs more freely, loves more deeply, and embraces the small moments with greater gratitude. She doesn't wait for a perfect day to celebrate life. She finds beauty in the now. Her joy becomes infectious, and people naturally want to be near her because she makes life feel more alive. That is the kind of presence that cannot be ignored. Passion at its core is freedom. It frees you from the dullness of routine, from the fear of judgment, from the weight of living only to please others. It allows you to be fully yourself, unapologetically alive. And when a woman chooses to live this way, she becomes irresistible, not because of how she looks, but because of how she makes others feel about life itself. She becomes a living reminder that life is meant to be embraced with fire, with courage, with heart, and that above all is unforgettable. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who understands emotions, both her own and those of the people around her. She doesn't just hear words, she feels the energy behind them. She can walk into a room and sense tension without anyone saying a thing, or notice when someone is hurting even though they're smiling. This quality, known as emotional intelligence, is one of the most magnetic traits any person can have. It makes a woman irresistible because it allows her to connect on a deeper level, creating bonds that go far beyond the surface. Emotional intelligence isn't about being overly sensitive or reading too much into situations. It's about awareness. It's the ability to recognize what you're feeling, to understand where those feelings come from, and to manage them in a way that allows you to respond rather than react. Life throws challenges, disagreements, and unexpected turns at everyone, but a woman with emotional intelligence doesn't let those moments control her. She stays grounded. She feels the emotions, but she chooses how to express them in ways that build trust instead of breaking it. That steadiness makes her presence comforting, even irresistible, because people know they can rely on her to remain calm when the world feels chaotic. Think about how rare this quality is today. So many people speak without thinking, react impulsively, and allow anger or frustration to dictate their behavior. But then there are those few who pause, breathe, and respond with thoughtfulness. They're the ones who diffuse arguments instead of fueling them, who bring clarity to confusion, who can disagree without disrespect. That's emotional intelligence in action, and when a woman possesses it, people notice, they feel safer around her, more willing to open up, more drawn to her energy. What makes this habit even more irresistible is that it shows self-mastery. Anyone can lose their temper, anyone can say something they regret. But it takes strength to choose patience. It takes awareness to recognize when emotions are clouding judgment. It takes discipline to replace impulsive reactions with intentional responses. An emotionally intelligent woman demonstrates that strength, and people admire it because it shows control without rigidity. She isn't cold, she's compassionate. She isn't distant, she's deeply connected, but she knows how to handle her emotions rather than letting her emotions handle her. That balance is what makes her unforgettable. But emotional intelligence isn't just about managing your own emotions, it's about understanding others. It's about empathy. An irresistible woman has the gift of making people feel understood, even when they struggle to explain themselves. She doesn't dismiss feelings as weakness, nor does she trivialize the struggles of others. Instead, she listens, really listens, not just to words, but to tone, body language, and what's left unsaid. That kind of presence is rare in a world where so many are distracted, and it creates a bond that people can't help but value. This doesn't mean she always agrees with everyone. Emotional intelligence isn't about pleasing people or avoiding conflict, it's about navigating relationships with wisdom. It's knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to stand firm and when to compromise, when to let go and when to hold on. An irresistible woman doesn't avoid difficult conversations, she approaches them with compassion and clarity. She seeks understanding before judgment, connection before criticism. And because of that, her relationships thrive on respect and depth. Emotional intelligence also feels resilient. Life will test every woman with disappointments, heartbreaks, and setbacks, but the way she handles those moments defines her. An emotionally intelligent woman doesn't deny her pain, but she doesn't let it define her either. She processes it, learns from it, and transforms it into strength. That ability to rise while still remaining open-hearted makes her captivating, because people see both her vulnerability and her strength, and that combination is irresistible. At its core, emotional intelligence is about presence. It's being fully present with yourself and with others. It's showing up authentically in every moment, whether it's joyful or painful, and meeting it with awareness instead of resistance. When a woman embodies this, she doesn't just connect with people, she leaves an imprint on their heart. They remember her not because of what she said, but because of how she made them feel, respected, understood, and valued. And in a world where so many crave genuine connection, that is one of the most attractive qualities of all.
There is something profoundly captivating about a woman who is completely herself. In a world that constantly tries to mold women into a single standard of beauty, success, or behavior, authenticity shines like a rare jewel. An irresistible woman doesn't spend her life trying to be a copy of someone else. She embraces her own essence. She knows that her uniqueness is her strength, not something to be hidden or reshaped to gain approval. And that is why people cannot forget her, because she offers them something real in a world full of pretenses. Authenticity is magnetic because it brings freedom both to the woman who lives it and to those who witness it. When you meet someone who is unapologetically themselves, it gives you permission to do the same. You don't feel judged around them. Instead, you feel encouraged to drop your own masks. An irresistible woman lives in that space of truth. She doesn't bend her voice to fit in, nor does she pretend to like things she doesn't just to be accepted. She values honesty over performance, and that honesty is what draws people to her. This authenticity isn't loud, it doesn't demand attention. It simply exists in every small choice she makes. It's in the way she dresses to reflect her style, not to meet an expectation. It's in the way she expresses her opinions without forcing them onto others. It's in the way she laughs without worrying if it's too loud or shows her quirks without fear of being misunderstood. And because she is so real, people remember her. They remember how refreshing it felt to be around someone who wasn't pretending, someone who wasn't playing a role, someone who was simply human and yet so radiant in that humanness. What makes authenticity even more irresistible is the courage behind it. To be authentic in a world that constantly tells women to be more of this and less of that takes strength. It means standing firm when others question you. It means embracing your imperfections instead of hiding them. It means being proud of your story, the good, the bad, and the lessons in between. An irresistible woman understands that her scars are not flaws to conceal but marks of survival, proof of her journey, and because she embraces them, she teaches others to embrace their own. Authenticity also creates trust. People may admire perfection from a distance, but they connect with realness up close. When a woman shows up as she is, she becomes approachable. Others feel comfortable around her because they don't sense a facade. They sense truth. They know her kindness is genuine, her confidence is earned, and her presence is sincere. In a world full of polished images and filtered realities, that kind of transparency is not just attractive, it's unforgettable. Living authentically doesn't mean a woman never changes. In fact, authenticity requires growth. It means that as she evolves, she remains aligned with her true self, rather than losing herself in what others expect. It means her femininity is not a mask but an expression of her essence. Sometimes that expression is soft and nurturing, sometimes it is fierce and determined, sometimes it is playful and lighthearted, but in every form it is hers. It is not borrowed, not rehearsed, not copied, and that is what makes it powerful. There's also a quiet confidence that flows from authenticity. When a woman accepts herself fully, she doesn't compete with others for attention or validation. She doesn't feel the need to compare her path to someone else's because she knows her journey is unique. That lack of competition makes her presence peaceful, not draining. She uplifts instead of envies. She celebrates others without losing sight of her own worth. And people are drawn to that balance because it feels safe, it feels empowering, and it feels rare. Ultimately, authenticity is about alignment. The alignment between what you believe, what you say, and how you live. When those things match, your life becomes your message, and that message is irresistible. An authentic woman is unforgettable because she shows the world what it looks like to be free. She is free from pretending, free from constant comparison, and free from living only to please others. That freedom radiates in her smile, her words, her energy, and that is the kind of beauty that never fades. There is nothing more captivating than a woman who respects herself and commits to her own growth. That combination of self-respect and a growth mindset creates a power that cannot be ignored. When a woman values who she is, she sets standards for how she should be treated, not out of pride, but out of an understanding of her worth. And when she pairs that with the hunger to keep learning, evolving, and becoming better every single day, she becomes unstoppable. People are drawn to her not just because of who she is now, but because of who she is becoming. Self-respect is the foundation of irresistibility. It's in the choices you make daily, the choice to protect your peace instead of engaging in drama, the choice to walk away from relationships that diminish you, the choice to say no when something doesn't align with your value. A woman who respects herself doesn't settle for half-love, false friendships, or toxic environments. She understands that the way she treats herself sets the tone for how the world will treat her. And when people see that kind of integrity, they cannot help but admire it. Respecting yourself tells others, "This is my standard. If you want a place in my life, you have to rise to it." That clarity is deeply attractive, but self-respect alone is not enough. It becomes irresistible when combined with the desire to grow. A woman who constantly seeks growth is never stagnant. She reads, she learns, she tries new things, she takes risks, and she reflects on her experiences. She doesn't cling to comfort zones, she stretches beyond them. That hunger for growth makes her vibrant, because there is always more depth to discover in her. People are drawn to her energy because it feels alive, constantly unfolding, constantly expanding. Being around her feels like being in motion. It inspires others to grow. Growth requires humility, and that humility is beautiful. An irresistible woman knows she doesn't have all the answers, and she doesn't pretend to. She welcomes feedback, she learns from mistakes, and she sees setbacks not as failures but as lessons. That openness makes her approachable, because it shows she's real, strong yet humble, confident yet willing to learn. It's a balance that creates both respect and admiration. People trust her because she isn't hiding behind perfection. She's walking openly on the path of progress. What makes this habit so magnetic is the strength it builds over time. When a woman respects herself and commits to growth, she becomes resilient. She no longer depends on outside validation to define her worth. She no longer fears being alone because she knows she can stand strong on her own. She doesn't cling to comfort because she knows her growth lies beyond it. That resilience radiates from her. It shows in her calmness during storms, in her strength when tested, in her ability to keep rising no matter what life throws at her. People are irresistibly drawn to that strength because it is rare and inspiring. And there's another layer to this. Self-respect and growth together create authenticity and alignment. A woman who values herself doesn't try to be someone she's not, and because she's always growing, she doesn't fear change. She accepts that evolving doesn't mean losing herself. It means becoming more of who she truly is. That journey makes her presence feel layered, deep, and endlessly fascinating. People want to know her story, not because it's perfect, but because it's real and still unfolding. Ultimately, the habit of pairing self-respect with a growth mindset makes a woman irresistible, because it shows she is not just surviving, she is thriving. She is not waiting for life to hand her meaning, she is creating it. She is not content with staying the same. She is becoming more every single day, and in that becoming, she lights the path for others to rise with her. That is a rare kind of beauty, one that doesn't fade but grows richer with time. An irresistible woman is not defined by what she has, but by who she is and who she is becoming. And when she respects herself deeply and commits to her own growth, she doesn't just attract admiration, she inspires transformation in everyone around her. That is the kind of presence people never forget. True irresistibility is not about being flawless, it's about being real, radiant, and relentless in your journey of becoming the best version of yourself.